fighter has the highest fight IQ?
I don't think there's nobody in the game that has the fight IQ that I have.
Off the charts.
His IQ
the
is
highest
insane.
fight IQ maybe ever.
This guy hits hard. He's tough. He's this, he's that. And this guy has a dream. But my fight IQ will win this fight.
Bienvenidos a otro episodio del Fight IQ Podcast. Ya tenemos todos los gabanes puestos. Ya estamos listos. Ya ustedes saben. We have our fight card. Mexico City. Moreno versus Urseg. Not the greatest card, to be completely honest with you. So we're really only going to touch on a few. We're going to start at the top here. Brandon Moreno versus Steve Urseg. I think it's going to be a great fight. I'm going with Moreno on this one. I think he's a little more well-rounded. He's got more grit. Steve Urseg, I didn't really like how towards the end of that Pantoja fight, his fight IQ kind of went out the window, decided to shoot a takedown, decided to ruin the fight for himself. And Brandon Moreno looked really, really good in his last fight against Albazi. Yeah, I'm going Moreno here. I think it's a pretty simple pick. I do think Steve Urseg is good. I rate him pretty highly in this division. I just don't think he beats the Morenos of the division.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Steve Urseg's, he's good. I think he deserves to be at the top of the division, kind of where he's been sitting. But man, they've just never given the guy a break. He's just kind of fighting these like killer after killer after killer. And he obviously had that KO loss to Kai Kara France, had a decision loss to Pantoja. Brandon Moreno, I think, is going to be able to outstrike him here. And I think Steve Urseg's striking is really crisp, but we've all been kind of riding the high of that Matt Schnell knockout for so long that I think we've forgotten that Steve Urseg is kind of also just a regular guy. I don't know that the grappling exchanges are going to be his move here. Brandon Moreno's got such slick wrestling. We saw all those crazy scrambles that he had with Figueiredo 1 through 18 or whatever it was that they fought. So I think Moreno does get it done here. I think he's going to be able to outbox him, and I think the grappling exchanges are going to be nullified by his wrestling.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Brandon Moreno on this one. I think stylistically it's a tough matchup for Urseg because Moreno has the same weapons that Kai Kara France does, just in like a little bit of a different style, Kai Kara France and Brandon Moreno both have like a really good tendency to finish their boxing combinations with kicks. And Moreno lately has been really like getting good at his body kicks to bring the hands down to set up his boxing. So I feel like something like that is going to give Urseg a lot of problems, especially with the grappling threat from Moreno. So I feel like that's going to be the safest pick. It's going to be Brandon Moreno, probably beating him by decision or maybe like a round 4 submission.
Nice.
Yeah, I could see him submitting Urseg. The thing is, actually, one thing I was just thinking about, certain things that Moreno likes to throw and certain things that Urseg likes to throw. Urseg actually does have really nice counters, and he is long for the division. He has a long reach, and he has a really nice counter left hook. And Brandon Moreno does like to do that kind of walk-in rear side body kick from the left side where he kind of takes a couple steps into it. And that is kind of a tell that I think Urseg will be aware of. I could see Urseg landing some really nice counter boxing on Moreno's entries. I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Yeah. I mean, the speed difference here, I think, is going to be a huge factor. Moreno's one of those guys that makes everybody look slow. And Steve Urseg is not necessarily a quick guy to begin with. So I think that gap's only going to get worse as the fight goes on, too.
Yeah. And I think, also, one of the best ways to beat Moreno is just to put his lights out, which we haven't seen.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Urseg really has the power to do it. I mean, everyone, if they touch Matt Schnell on the chin, they're going to put him out. But Moreno doesn't, he doesn't have a Matt Schnell chin.
No.
So I think while Urseg probably will catch him with a couple counter left hooks and maybe a nice straight right every now and again, I think it's going to be one of those things where we're like, Urseg just didn't do enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move down. The fights get worse as we go, so whatever.
Yeah.
Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober. This is going to be a good fight.
Yep.
I will say this could be one of the best fights on the card. Uh, I don't really know who I'm going to pick here. Let me hear what you guys have to say.
Ooh, I'll start out on this one because I've got a pretty clear pick. I think I'm going Manuel Torres on this one. You know, he's 3-1 in his last 4 fights in the UFC. He submitted Chris Duncan, which we just saw is a pretty big ask based on how Jordan Vucenic did against him. He had 2 first-round knockouts prior to that. His only recent loss was against Ignacio Bahamondes, which hasn't really aged all that poorly based on how he's been looking. I think Manuel Torres gets it done here, and I think we probably see a finish with this one. Drew Dober's been kind of one of those hot and cold fighters recently. He's suffered some pretty nasty finishes, and he's been in a lot of wars. John Silva is the biggest one that comes to mind, where he just took a ton of damage in that fight. And I think Manuel Torres is really on the come up here, and I think he might be able to get it done and get it done definitively.
Yeah, it's kind of where I was leaning. I always like watching Drew Dober fight. I like him as a fighter. He's never in a boring fight
No.
ever.
Mm-hmm.
So he's one of these guys that when we see him on a card, he's like the opposite of a buzzkill fighter. He's someone that we're always very excited to see. I just think like if this was 2020 or 2021 Drew Dober, I might be picking him for this fight. But like you're saying, especially like after all the damage that he took from John Silva, and even in the McKinney fight, like he took a ton of damage in the McKinney fight before coming back.
Yeah.
I don't like that. And Manuel is like definitely a lot cleaner
Yeah.
than like a McKinney. And he can be very aggressive too. That loss to Bahamondes, I don't really hold against him too badly. I think he could probably get it done here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Manuel Torres on this one.
Nice.
I feel like he's a really crisp striker for how lengthy he is and how tall he is for the division. And that's why he had such problems with Bahamondes, is because Bahamondes is another like really tall, lengthy guy. So it's like when you have two of those people fighting each other, you can kind of see who's better at what style.
Yeah.
I feel like Drew Dober lately has been like really hit or miss, like you guys have been saying, but it's probably just from all of the damage he's taken in his career from being in those exciting fights. I feel like, yeah, he does bring it every time, and there are going to be opportunities for him to really make this an exciting fight if he's able to get in on Torres and get into the pocket and start slugging. I feel like that would be his best method of victory.
Yeah.
But I feel like you have to have a granite chin for that. And I just see Torres being able to pick him apart on the outside before he can make those moments happen.
Yeah, and another point too is like, even though Manuel is like this big, lengthy lightweight, he's also not super skinny. Like he's got a decent bit of muscle on him. He's got a decent bit of power, and in the scrambles, he's got good jujitsu as well.
Yeah.
I could see him like hurting Dober and then locking up a submission because his submission game is pretty slick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely see a straight punch rocking Dober on the inside because Dober primarily likes to throw arcing punches. He likes to, throw big hook crosses, hooks, stuff like that. Really loopy punches, and I just see Manuel Torres landing like a straight punch down the middle and catching him before he's able to do something like that on an entry.
Yeah, I see that too. With that being said, let's move down to Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer.
Damn.
This is a pretty easy pick for me. I'm going Pyfer. Kelvin Gastelum back in the day was one of my favorite fighters. Obviously like a month or two ago got inducted into the Hall of Fame for the fight with Izzy. But again, that was like 6 or 7 years ago now. I just don't think Kelvin Gastelum has it anymore.
No, that's my fear now going into this is, this is not the Kelvin that I think we all remember. This is Kelvin now versus like 4 or 5 years ago where he was really like title contention talk, right? He was the guy where we were like, oh shit, he could. Moving up to middleweight, he's been there for a bit. Obviously, that's been a lot better for his weight cuts. Joe Pyfer is a pretty big dude and has a ton of power. I don't know that Kelvin's chin has lasted him that well all over the years, so I think if he gets touched here, he might be going to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if anyone's going to put you to sleep, it's going to be Joe Pyfer, man. That guy is massive. He throws really big shots. He has like lunchbox hands. He's just one of those people that has such deceptive power, and he really just needs to land clean on you to put you to sleep.
Yeah.
And he just kind of seems like a guy that's willing to throw himself in the fire a lot more than Kelvin Gastelum is.
Yeah.
Kelvin's really known for having these like lukewarm decisions where it's like either he's barely winning or he's just kind of getting shut down, but like not getting shut down bad enough to get finished.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel
Well,
like
it's
with
tough
with Piper, it's just a snap, and then it's game over.
yeah, I feel like it's always been tough for Kelvin though, because he's got like the torso of a heavyweight,
Yeah.
but like the legs of like a featherweight and whatever. He's like this really weird build where he is actually too big for welterweight. Like he's tried to make welterweight before, and he just can't do it. His torso is just too big.
Dude, is it though? Because I just remember him like doing interviews and like because there was so much controversy when he was missing weight all the fucking time. Of like, yo, dude, we saw you at the taco truck like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing, bro? Like, and then he's like, sorry
I think it's a
guys, I
little
can't
bit.
resist.
I think it's a little bit of his build, and I think it's a little bit of lack of discipline too.
Discipline
I mean,
for
we
sure,
can we
man.
can talk about his build, but y'all know he's 5'8", right?
I think he's got to be taller than that.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know.
Is that what it says?
That's what that Google says that he's 5'8". Google says that he's
I don't
5'8"
believe
with a
you.
71-inch reach versus Joe Pyfer at 6'2" with a 75-inch reach.
UFC says he's 5'9", so that's a little bit more play, dude. But that's a 5'9" at welterweight is crazy.
That's still
I
crazy.
know. And he's got good in and out movement. Like he's been able to make it work, but I just think
Unless
like
you look like Sean Brady.
Yeah.
man, I don't know. Yeah, it's just hard to pick him in this one. And I think Joe Pyfer's loss to
Hermanson.
Henson, I think that actually was good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Hermanson, like Kelvin Gastelum is not going to be able to implement a game plan like that, like where you're sticking on the outside, using your length and jabbing on the like. Kelvin Gastelum can't do that for fucking 3
And
rounds.
he's not the grappler that Hermanson is too. I think Gastelum got submitted by Hermanson actually. Now
Round one.
I think it was like a heel hook or something.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going Pyfer.
Yeah.
It's the safe pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Piper by finish, actually.
Ooh,
I think
love it.
I think Kelvin gets fucking flatlined, bro.
I think he could. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it could happen. All right. Let's move down. Raul Rosas Jr. El Niño Problema. I think that's his nickname. I'm picking him to win this fight. I'm never going to pick Vince Morales to win a fight.
No.
I mean, why would you?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a pretty easy layup, I think, for Raul. This is definitely the UFC trying to throw him a couple more to really keep him going. They're not trying to throw him to some gatekeeper that's going to stop his momentum at this point. They're really trying to see him keep going, keep being the youngest UFC fighter, keep, whatever it is that they want to do with him. That being said, I mean, his last time out, his boxing looked great. He did look like he'd improved. It looks like he's continuing to improve every fight, which is good to see. I could see him wanting to keep this standing too, especially not being terribly fearful of Vince Morales in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be afraid of Vince Morales on the ground either.
No.
Like this is something where like they're like, all right, we could release Vince Morales from the UFC, or
we can let Raul Rosas fuck him up.
Yeah, and then release him.
So that's yeah. I'm picking Raul Rosas Jr.
Definitely.
That's
Definitely.
Yeah, dude, I'm sticking with Raul Rosas Jr. on this one. I feel like this is going to be one of those ones where you can kind of pick where he wants the fight to go and then still get a finish.
Yep.
I feel like if he wants to keep it boxing, he can keep it boxing. And if he wants to take him down and go for that rear naked choke, that's definitely something he could do too. I feel like Ricky Tercios is a tougher fight than Vince Morales.
Yeah.
I think so too.
So
significantly.
All right. Should we even talk about this next fight? I don't really even care. Like they're giving David Martinez a layup.
Yeah.
And I see this fight on the card and I'm like, wow, who gives a fuck?
I mean, this is definitely, it's David Martinez's debut. They're trying to give him another, somewhat winnable chance here. I think they see something in David Martinez. So they're giving him Simon Oliveira so he can go out there, get a quick finish on the main card in Mexico. Do your thing. Let's move on.
And this is going to age so badly for me. David Martinez is going to end up being like fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
gonna
got to be good.
He's gonna light him up on the feet and then do like an off the cage submission, and it's like the most viral moment of the year.
Dude, he's gonna do like instead of a Showtime kick, he's gonna do like a Showtime rear naked choke.
Jesus.
Where he runs off the cage, hits the back, and like
Yeah.
it's gonna be one of the coolest
Dude.
subs we've
He-
ever
he-
seen.
He rocks David Martinez and he's running away, has his back towards him, and then he
Yeah.
jumps off the cage to get the extra speed to jump on his
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
David Martinez versus Marab. Book it for September.
All right.
Heck yeah, dude.
Next.
Let's talk about this last fight on the main card.
Another good one.
Ronaldo Rodriguez, El Lazy Boy.
Mhm.
Hey, Lazy Boy. Dude, it was actually kind of funny. I was listening to an interview with I don't know if you guys are familiar with the comedian Franco Escamilla.
Mm-mm.
He's a Mexican comedian. But I was listening, they did an interview. Lazy Boy was on his thing, and he was like, why would you pick the nickname Lazy Boy? That's like so whatever. And he was just like, I don't know. I didn't really know what it meant. I just thought it sounded cool.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I like that. I think this is actually going to be kind of a tough fight for him.
Yeah.
Kevin Botas has good boxing. I think he probably doesn't have as good grappling as Ronaldo does, but I think it's going to be a little bit tough for Lazy Boy to get that to cover the void, as Demetrius Johnson likes to say, that void in between when they're on the feet. Borjas, he's gonna have a solid jab. He's gonna have good boxing combinations. I think at some point Lazy Boy will be able to find the grappling exchanges, and that's where he'll have his best work. But I think this is actually going to be a good fight.
Yeah.
I think I rate Borjas. I rate his striking, and his takedown defense is not bad. I think it's going to be tougher for Lazy Boy than some people might think, looking at Kevin's like record in the UFC so far.
Yeah.
But I do think he's pretty good.
Yeah. I do think Ronaldo gets it done in this one too. He's on back-to-back wins at this point. He's had a lot of momentum since coming off of the Contender Series. He got a submission the last time he fought on a Moreno card, which is kind of cool. So they're bringing him back for another Moreno card. He had a decision win over Ode Osborne before that. So he's had some pretty difficult competition. I do think Kevin is going to be his hardest fight yet, and we're really going to see if this is somebody that's actually going to be something, or if he's just one of those regional fighters that we're going to see every time we go to Mexico.
Yeah, bringing up the Ode Osborne fight though, like that one could have gone either way.
Yeah.
It
was close.
I thought Ode won. Yeah, but it was close.
Yeah.
It was close.
I'm really on the fence about this one. I want to go Ronaldo because he's obviously the more charismatic fighter. He's the more fun fighter that we know of right now.
Yeah.
But for Borjas, man, I really rate being the shorter person with longer reach highly, because typically the way you're supposed to fight somebody with longer reach than you is to really like get underneath their punches and then arc underneath their straight shots. And Ronaldo did that very well against Ode Osborne, but if somebody's shorter than you, then you have to get that much lower to get underneath the punches.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that Borjas has a lot of significant strikes landed per minute, and it's going to be very interesting to see if Lazy Boy is going to be able to take him down. So I think I might actually go Kevin Borjas on this one.
Nice.
29-28, just to probably take the underdog on this one.
Yeah, I don't know if
I do like Lazy Boy. And I do rate fucking him standing and banging with fucking Alex Pereira highly, dude. Him just going fucking crazy with Alex Pereira and sparring was nuts.
Yeah.
But I think I'll take Kevin Borjas on this one for the drama.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm going with you. on that pick.
Dang. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Lazy Boy is cool though. He's really fun for the division.
He's cool.
I just think this is it's gonna be a tough one. I hope he wins, but I feel like I got to pick with my brain on this one.
Fair.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll cover a couple fights on the prelims. CJ Vergara is back against Edgar Chaires, but not too excited about this one. I'm probably gonna pick Chaires. I think he is stronger.
Yeah.
He's probably got the speed advantage. He's got great grappling too, actually. His striking's not that good, but his grappling is good. I'm just gonna pick Chaires.
Nice. I think I'm probably going to go with you on that one. I'm also going to go with Edgar Chairez. CJ hasn't won a fight since 2013. It's been a hot minute for him. He had two
2013. There's no
2013.
way.
He lost twice in 2024. Or I'm sorry, 2023, not 2013.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No. 2023. That's my fault. In 2024, he fought some high level competition. I mean, he fought Asu Almabayev, which, as we know, is higher up in the division, and he didn't do very well there. So I think he kind of struggles once he starts getting into these guys that are going to be really competitive with him. So I just don't see CJ doing very well here.
Yeah, man, gonna have to agree with you. I've never really seen a lot of high level skill coming out of CJ Vergara at
No.
all. I really don't like how he like kind of manages space with like his hand out, pointed to the sky, like just kind of keeping that lead hand completely extended.
Yeah.
Like that's just a free lever for a good grappler to grab onto and take you down, or like you're just giving a free measurement out to your opponent, really. I'm gonna go with Edgar Chairez. I think he's gonna be able to take him down and out scramble him and probably just get a submission, a select one.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's go on to the next one. I don't want to spend too much time on these prelims. Jose Medina versus Atiba Gautier. Gautier,
Yeah.
probably going to knock him out. Or actually, probably not. Medina's got a crazy chin, actually. He's like one of these guys that they bring in just because they know like he can take a lot of damage. And so they put him up against a good striker, and it's going to be fun for the viewers. But realistically, I don't think Jose has any chance here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to Teba Gutierrez too. It's one of those fights. He's 5-1. He's had 6-1 with 5 knockouts. I don't see him not getting another one here. I really think this is another one of those cases where they're trying to put some Contender Series folks on this card where they think that there's going to be some success and potentially even some highlights out of it. So
Yeah.
I do think we're going to see a finish here, and I do think Gutierrez gets it done.
Yeah, man. I gotta be honest. I haven't seen either of these two dudes fight, but just looking at some stats and the builds here, I'm gonna have to go with Gutier, man. 6'4" at middleweight.
Yeah, big dude.
6'4" at middleweight with an 81-inch reach, dude. That's a fucking problem, bro.
That's
Especially
crazy. 81
when you
inch
look
reach at middleweight is absolutely crazy.
brutal.
and when you look like you're just like that dense and filled with muscle, like the power is there.
Mhm.
And
Pretty
so
explosive.
I'm picking off the vibes. I think so far I'm undefeated picking off vibes so far,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
I'm going Gautier.
Nice.
All right. Christian Rodriguez versus Melquizael Costa.
Crazy name. I love it.
Costa coming off a nice first round submission over Andre Fili.
Mhm.
That's an impressive win. Christian Rodriguez, however, is the prospect killer.
Mm-hmm.
If he's fighting a prospect, he does very well. If he's fighting a complete bum, he loses.
Mhm.
And Costa's not a bum.
No.
That makes it tough for me to pick this one because I want to pick Costa. I think he's pretty good. I think his ability to like survive on the feet and find his way to the grappling exchanges is pretty impressive. I'm going Costa.
Oh,
Fuck it.
switching it up.
I'm not picking Christian Rodriguez off of a meme. I'm going Costa.
I respect that. For me, I'm also going Costa. He's had 2 submission wins in a row. Obviously had a really great performance over Andre Fili in UFC Seattle. Rodriguez did have a win over Austin Bashi in his debut, but he did get submitted by Julian Erosa before that. I do think Costa has better grappling than Julian Erosa does. I don't see Christian Rodriguez getting out of this one.
I'm actually gonna go with Christian Rodriguez on this one. I feel like
Somebody has to.
he's displayed enough times. I feel like he's displayed enough times that he's able to, keep himself safe on the ground relatively, and he's able to secure a win. He doesn't have a lot of losses on his record, so I'm gonna go with Christian Rodriguez over Costa.
Yeah, not bad. I think we could get some really fun scrambles in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're saying, Rodriguez is very good at staying safe in the grappling exchanges. I think we'll get some fun scrambles here.
Yeah.
Let's go down. Lupi Godinez versus my girl Julia Palastri.
Dang.
I hope one day Julia Palastri can show the skill that I see in her. I think she always starts slow. This is like this makes it tough because she always usually, if the fight's going to decision, she wins round 3. She had a really close fight on the Contender Series with Jasmine Jasudavicius, and Jasudavicius is killing it right now in the UFC. And Pilastri was kind of walking her down, beating her ass in round 3. The thing is, she just starts off round 1 super slow because she has like I feel like I've said this before, but Pilastri has this demeanor about her in a fight that's almost like a dude fighting a chick, where she just like walks forward and she's like, "What? This fucking chick's not gonna hurt me. Like, it's a chick." You know what I mean? But I think if Pilastri can put on the pressure and get her jab going and her combinations going starting in round 1, I think she could beat most people in this division.
Dang.
Yeah.
I'm going opposite with you on this one. I've gotta go for Loopy, man. She's always been a ride or die for me. You know, she ran into a little bit of tough luck last year. She fought Mackenzie Dern and she fought the women's MMA GOAT Jandiroba. You know, both of those losses, I'll rate them because both of those competitors are moving on to be pretty close to a title shot themselves. So it's one of those things where, you know, we're bumping up against the ceiling of the skill level there. I think she's probably looking to try and turn it around here. So this is hopefully going to be a fight that kind of switches that momentum back around to get her back up towards a title shot. I could see this one going either way. I think it's probably going to be a pretty good fight. I do think Loopy has fought better competitors over the course of her career at this point, and I think that experience might matter a little bit here. It's close, though.
Oh, man. I don't know. Loopy, okay. Here's the thing about Loopy. She's not good at anything.
But she's okay at all of it.
But listen, she shoots for takedowns, doesn't get them. Throws a bunch of combinations, never lands anything clean. It's so hard for me to pick a fighter like that.
That's fair.
Dude, that's 90% of
That's Marab.
women's MMA though.
I know, but listen, that's just
Like
what,
that's dude. There's a couple world champions that have won the belt that way, brother.
That's true. That's true.
Fucking,
We all suffered through that Rose fight.
yeah, man. So I feel like it's a tough one, man. I would rather just flip a coin than put like a reliable pick on the board for this one. But
big Flashy, bro. She's got
you
great
gotta pick somebody though.
She's got this nice like hop in front kick. That's like most people throw a front kick just to keep distance or whatever. Like
she can use it for like a fake.
She's throwing it to kill, dude.
She uses the front kick as a fake. All right, dude, I'm down.
No, she uses the front kick like actually to inflict
Dude,
damage.
she's out there to kill him with it.
Yeah. And then once you get them respecting it, dude, you just throw that leg up, and then they fucking
whatever.
I'll go Pilastri. Fucking.
Dang. Okay.
Let's go, dude. And I like Loopy too.
Dang.
I like Loopy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. Listen, the last 3 fights on this card we're not going to talk about, so I think this should be the last one we talk about. Rafa Garcia versus Vince Pichel.
Dude.
I think this could actually end up being fight of the night. Rafa Garcia is super aggressive. He's well-rounded. Vince Pichel, whatever. He's probably like one of the better old man fighters in the UFC. I think this could be a fun fight. It's got 0 implications.
Yeah.
We don't really care about it, but I think it could be a fun fight.
This is one of those fights where you're just at like a bar and you just see 2 old dudes yapping at each other and you're like, oh shit, and then they just start scrapping. You're like, oh fuck, dude, these guys are like 45 years old.
Oh shit, Vince Pichel just said some slur to that Garcia dude.
Yeah, dude. Dude, fucking Vince Pichel was on Uriah Faber's season of The Ultimate Fighter against Dominic Cruz. Like, that's before the McGregor season. Like, how crazy is that?
Yep.
That's a long time ago.
You know,
But I'm picking him to win though.
Vince?
Yeah.
Dang, okay.
Yeah, dude, dude, he has that dog in him, bro.
You know,
like one thing you can say about Vince Pichel is you have to like really fucking get him out of there if you want to win, and he's gonna be there late into the 3rd round. And I just feel like in Mexico City, where cardio is gonna be a big factor, because a lot of these fights are gonna get sloppy as shit towards the 3rd round because of the elevation. It happens every time. It's why we don't do heavyweight main events in Mexico City anymore. But it's like that's why there's a lot of lighter weight class fellas on here, because the elevation's a bitch. I feel like Vince Pichel is gonna have that extra gear.
Dang, dude. I think
for a late finish.
I think I gotta go Rafa on this one. You know, Rafa Garcia he's a dog, man. He's one of those guys that's really tough. I think this fight goes to decision. Vince Pichel just reminds me of like the child of Sean Strickland and Cub Swanson, and I can't rightfully like go for that. So Rafa's got to be the one here. I think this fight goes the distance. I think it's probably a really good fight, and I could see this being fight of the night potentially. But I do think we're gonna get a sloppy third round for sure.
Yeah, dude. Anybody that loses to Drakkar Close is never getting my pick.
That's
dude.
tough, bro. I know.
Anybody that like just based off principle, dude, I can't pick you if you lost to Drakkar Close ever.
It's tough.
I'm going Rafa on a coin.
Switching it. Switching
Yeah,
it.
I'm going Rafa.
I like it.
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't even think we bother talking about the rest of the fights.
No, dude, it's all good.
No,
Fuck it. I mean, there's 2 more, but why even waste the time?
I'm good.
We good on that?
We good on that.
Okay. Pues gracias a todos por ver este video. Ojalá que disfrutaran y enjoy the fights. They could be all right.
Mhm.
I think we'll get some good ones in here.
For sure.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy the fights. Adios.
Adios.